5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What is the Matrix?
Start me from the top, man.
Maybe it's the weed got me. Maybe it's these trees got me. Maybe it's these hoes got me. Maybe it's this stroll that got me. Maybe it's these clothes got me. Maybe it's these laws got me. Maybe it's my dogs got me. Maybe it's these bras got me. Maybe it's this man that got me. Maybe it's my clan that got me. Maybe it's my fam that got me. My plans. The Matrix.
When I wake up in the morning, I wake up in the morning, putting my read in my Bible paper. Lord, I can see them later. Middle finger up, always screaming, fuck a hater. Chewing on them suckers like annihilator. No hip hop, this ain't rock and roll. This is real music, pop lock your soul.
All aboard! It is time to hop aboard my spaceship, because you are now tuned into What is the Matrix TV. I'm your host, Nathan Elm Street Williams, master of the universe, and you are tuned into the most controversial, informative show, and this is the first episode of 2025, the time loop. Boom! Tesla vehicle blowing up in front of the Trump Towers using ChatGPT, AI, drones and UFOs popping up in the sky, holograms. What's going on? Blood sacrifices in New Orleans. Boom, boom. Fires going on in California. Oh, and the presidential elections coming up. But here, Jason, July, August, September, October, November, we have solutions at the Matrix University. So before we start the show, we're going to bring on the most incredible oracle, goddess, priestess, Lana the Goddess.
Oh, thank you. That was so extra.com. I loved it. I'm appreciative to be here. I have to set the platform and say thank you. And we have to give appreciation to our ancestors. So I want to say thank you. They are here. I want to give a shout out to the chat, give a shout out to the audience. What's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube? What's up, JoJo? What's up, Jason? How y'all doing tonight? So happy to be here. We have so much to talk about in this Gregorian calendar year, January 2025. We have so much to cover.
Yes, we do. And we have an amazing new co-host who's going to be chiming in. Brother JoJo, give us some knowledge, my brother.
What's going on? Pew, pew, pew. How's everybody feeling tonight? Good to see you. I love the introduction, Brother Jason. Every time I love that. Blood sacrifices in New Orleans. I was like, man, I didn't even know that.
You feel
me? Inform us about that, man. Talk to us. What's up?
Plan events. When they first were dealing with winter people, so they celebrate those with the less melanin, much love, but let's get into it. They celebrate the winter solstice more than us. Our new year begins during the springtime, when the sun comes out, where life starts flourishing. So right now, as melanated people, we are in hibernation still. We are supposed to be gathering, getting ready to spring and for the summertime. But in the Gregorian calendar, within the matrix of the system that we're living in, their New Year starts January 1st, and they have planned events. So every year it's a fire. Every year there's a blood sacrifice. Every year there's a planned attack. But this year they said that the person was part of the woke community. They used the word Isis, which is Aset, an ancient Egyptian deity. We know who the orange man is, who is coming after the conscious community. We see that Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, took off the freedom of speech. So that means the fact checkers on the internet, which means that there's going to be a flood of misinformation. So right there with the fires, the blood sacrificing, the drones, the UFOs, all that is a distraction, Jojo, of the Matrix. A society built to distract us from becoming what today they define as a superhero, a god, a Buddha, a Christ, an Amun, a shaman, having direct contact with the source. So I would say that the religions of today, the media, these planned events are all distractions to keep us from thinking at a higher level of thought and consciousness, which will create a utopian society and community. So, what is the matrix to you, JoJo? And let's put on that yoga picture that
That's
JoJo question, Murdoch.
that's a wonderful question. That's the question of the day, and I love it. The matrix to me necessarily is not necessarily a system nor institution. It's a place. It's a location. It's like a place you sit in your heart. It's a place you sit in your mind. It's a place where you set upon these goals, agendas, rhetorics that no one really enforces. There's no one putting a gun to your head, but you choose it. Like this picture, we were talking about mushrooms. We were talking about natural plants earlier. How that dude in the middle, he's sitting between his good and his evil, but he's center in between, and that's where he finds his harmony and his alignment. But within the two of that, as you find your consciousness within this matrix, I feel like you break out of it the more that you break out of your own hardware or that place that you typically sit the most, whether good or bad. What do you think?
So, what as far as in the middle, are those the chakra wheels? And there's another. Do you want to focus on this one, or can we bounce to 1 and 2 as well?
You
Or
can bounce the two of them because they really were supposed to go together. Because I remember Queen was talking about how you guys went on a trip and she was seeing math, right?
yeah.
So go to the picture with the math.
So there's a yoga picture, Murdoch #2, yoga and the psilocybin magic mushrooms, y'all. And so right here, we're gonna start talking about how we can eat from the fungus. It says yoga magic mushrooms part 2, but we're gonna go through those pictures as well. But it's a similar picture that was on, but it's just
We'll just go off of that. How about that? Because we don't want to waste too much time. So go back, Murdoch. Essentially, in that picture, there was a similar picture to where that person was centered, and in the top right corner, it was algebra, long division, and a whole bunch of sequence of mathematics. And a lot of the time, when we consume these natural medicines, such as the psilocybin, we start doing math that's not necessarily 1 + 2 + 3 + 5. It's more so comes from what is the universe telling me is best interest of stuff to self. Like we're always doing a mathematical equation based upon our survival mechanism. What's going to make me be in the most heightened conscious place that I can be? Maybe it's a job, maybe it's your relationship in your fraternity, or it could just be within your relationship trying to establish the masculine role. Who fucking knows? But within those two, as you in the picture, in the math that was going on, the person was naturally going through the mathematical sequence within their own personal existence. Rather than needing artificial intelligence, rather than needing all of that, the person was receiving the downloads. And like in those pictures there, he then became in alignment, noticing his evils being on the right side and noticing his goods on the left side. But what's really funny of the picture is you notice which way his head is faced towards. Is it towards the blue or is it towards the red? Which means that most of our attention and your mathematical time or your sequences, you spend it, like you were saying, starting off the year negative, all this fear bait, all this fear mongering. So as you're trying to reach your enlightenment, as the cosmos are behind you and you're trying to reach your center, your head and your focus is going to go more to the right. As if you see right there, it's affecting his groin, his chest. Just like when you focus on negativity, y'all ever get dizzy or your chest start hurt? Or you just start feeling like you just got to take a shit? Has anyone ever felt that? Can I get some feedback?
go ahead, Lana. Don't break down the fruit and the DNA.
Well, okay. For me, the matrix is like it's a prison in the mind. It's designed to keep you vibrating on a solid frequency, which is the lowest frequency. The fruits and the vegetables, they carry codes that feed your cells so you can heal and you can vibrate on a frequency of love, the same frequency as the planet. So you see this picture here, it shows the fruits. Each of the fruits carry different frequencies. Strawberries would actually carry more chromosomes, aka, and I'm just going to say it in layman's terms because these words can get, a little intimidating. Your body needs those nutrients, your body needs those codes in order to heal. There's a specific frequency we need to be vibrating on at all times. And the powers that were know this. So therefore, like Jojo was saying, they intentionally start off their new year. They go off a Gregorian calendar that has nothing to do with the gods. They intentionally start you off in the winter where the frequency is vibrating low in the winter. And then they hit, like, it's already January 8th. I don't watch the news, but like Jason was saying in the beginning, you've got this event that happened in New Orleans. You've got the fires. I mean, it's just so much that has happened, and it hasn't even been a week in the month of January, and it is designed to keep everyone in fear. FEAR. The one thing that pretty much runs this realm is designed to keep you there. So if you're in fear, you're not going to want to eat high vibrating foods. You're going to want to stick to, like Jojo said, foods that are more into the red zone. Red is a color, it carries a frequency, and it's a low vibrating frequency. So there's no accident when you watch the news or you watch red fires are going on. Then they want you want to eat foods that have, the symbolism of a red in it. It's done on purpose. So we're in a loop right now. The matrix is a loop. You go in a circle. I'm gonna give you real quick. My mother told me this in December around Christmas time. She said she was in Target and she said, it's the craziest thing. She said, I literally feel like last year. She said the same music is playing, and there's this little kid crying in the kids' aisle in the toy section right now. He's crying. She said, I feel like this is a repeat of last year. It is a repeat of last year. So people don't realize you're literally repeating this shit. This is the matrix. It's a repeat. So when you unplug from there and you go into nature, and you start eating the fruits and the vegetables, those fruits and vegetables will start to remind you of who you are and what your purpose is here on this planet. So thank you. So that's what the fruits. If you want to go to, there's another one that will show how you'll see codes, which is kind of cool. This is the DNA strand. Okay, you can actually see that when you take the magic mushroom, you can see a DNA strand floating. That goes to show you that how alive our planet is. Our planet is just alive as you are. Why would
Have you guys ever been in the forest and like hugged a fat ass tree?
Yes.
And what'd that make you feel?
The trees talk to you.
Has anyone ever walked outside in the soil with no shoes or no socks?
Yes.
And how does that make you guys feel?
What's I was gonna say, it's crazy you say that, Jojo, because as a little kid, walking around barefoot, your parents go put some shoes on. No, I like walking around barefoot because you have to connect with the soil so the soil can speak to you. And so as kids, your parents or some parents or whatever make you feel like you're gonna get dirty. Don't do that. No, go get dirty because you are part of the dirt. Remember, you were taught in the Bible, you come from the dirt. So go get in the dirt. Go hug the trees. Let them hug you back. I promise you, they have so much information.
Exactly. Hugging a tree has been scientifically proven to heal you, calm your nerves. Because in school, in their school, the colonizer school system, they detached us from our true timeline and our true reality, our true teachers, which is the nature. This is why it's imperative to study our ancient cultures, especially the advanced ones that still exist, like El Kemet, where you get the word chemistry from, where today they call ancient Egypt. When we refer to the ancient Egyptians or the Cometians, they broke down the periodic table, the DNA codes, in simple petroglyph hieroglyphic form. So when we talk about the plant life, our ancestors dove into the psychedelic plant realms, not just the plants that gave an aroma, that gave certain frequencies off, because each plant has a different frequency. When you connect plants in the magic mushroom to certain computers, it'll play music. Stevie Wonder had an album called The Secret Book of the Plants, or The Secret Life of Plants. And so right there in school, they detached us from that reality. When not too long ago, we didn't call this a bird of paradise. It might be a cuckoo. And when we use the cuckoo or certain tones to describe this being, we might say that it speaks to us, it heals us. So to have it in your household will remind you of Tahuti, the bird, thought. But in class, they detached us and said it was just a plant. So this is what we're moving forward with, is diving more into the netters, the nature, the plant life. In this episode, the psilocybin, the magic mushroom, the true direct connection to ourselves is the plant world.
So,
And
Brother
that's
Jason.
certain plants illegal for us to smoke, eat, and certain fungus. So go
Brother
ahead.
Jason.
And we have a
just so,
picture, Murdoch, of ancient Egypt and the mushroom, like
so
the
just so
pharaoh.
I so
There you
just so
go.
I understand, and just so everyone understands on the show tonight, is this episode about tripping?
Well, definitely. We're plugging in to how the magic mushroom does take you on a trip, a voyage to a whole new world. But truly, it's like Michael Jackson left us. Remember the time. That time, that frequency still exists. And that's why he showed us ancient Kemet. He showed us that actually, you can go right now in a plane and fly to Kemet in Egypt and see statues that look like you. See our brothers and sisters smoking the blue lotus, eating magic mushrooms. So when we study our ancient cultures, we see that plant medicine, psychedelics were a part of our everyday culture and life.
So,
And
Chief, I
so,
got a question real quick, man.
go ahead.
So, a question I'd like to provoke to the panel. So, how I presented earlier, I said, I feel like the Matrix is a place. It's somewhere that you rest your head. When you take psilocybin and you talk about those trips, what place would you, when you're in that particular place or that stratosphere, that ozone, what is like, mind you, it's unusual. You can be in an ordinary place, but that unordinary place just somehow becomes very, very extraordinary. So as far as escaping the matrix, how do you think that the psilocybin it helps you travel or transcend to that different place?
A place of healing.
The fungus, the psilocybin, the fungus takes in all the energy, all the information of the universe, and then sprouts out. So when we eat the psilocybin and the funky fungus, we're eating all that information. And we know that the psilocybin and fungus is an extraterrestrial. The fungus, the magic mushrooms, are living entities meant for us to eat, certain ones. And it's been proven that it enhances your intelligence. It ends
It,
depression, anxiety. So
isn't it weird how he's talking to, I think it's so strange when you talk about like drinking and eating stuff, how like when you drink some Hennessy versus when you eat some mushrooms will make you want to be creative and love versus Hennessy will make you crash out, start wanting to fight everybody.
Exactly, because that's why in our communities they replaced our mystery schools in our what we would call now the magic mushrooms, ayahuasca, peyote, cannabis, all these things that what that still is our culture that's been stripped from us. Imagine that. Imagine instead of walking down the street and seeing liquor stores as we see on every corner to entice us, there's a psilocybin to where you can eat pink penis envy, golden caps, different types of magic mushrooms in a safe, facilitated environment to uplift your mind. They do it in Google. People watching this, type in Google workers and microdosing magic mushrooms. Type in Bill Gates experience with magic mushrooms. Type in Steve Jobs and psychedelics, and you'll see that your top European scientists, scholars dive into psychedelics
It's
because they know
healing.
that these chemicals are within you, but also power ups within the matrix hologram. Food of the Gods, the search for the original tree of knowledge, a radical history of plants, drugs, and human evolution by Terence McKenna, former botanist at the University of Stanford. I read this book at the University of Cal State San Marcos University. And before I ate my first psilocybin, I read this book as well. And so we see a rich history, even when you study the church, y'all. Look at the Pope's hat and notice the magic mushroom. Look at Santa Claus and the magic mushroom with the Amentia mushroom. And study the reindeer. You can type in reindeer in the magic mushroom. And so all these connections lead us back to Alice in Wonderland, the Mario Brothers. So all throughout ancient cultures, ancient Egypt, you can type in the Olmec culture and you'll see that the Olmec culture is actually a mushroom culture. And you can find different pottery and statues BC that prove that our ancestors, which are us, teach us that the true tree of knowledge, one where you can eat, knowing good and evil, and becoming wise like the gods again. And this is what those who control the matrix do not want us to know, that we have direct contact to source. And that's would be the story of the Christ. They gave you the story of Jesus, Yeshua, and God to replace you eating the magic mushroom. Because the moment you're in a safe environment and you can eat the magic mushroom, you have an opportunity to decalcify your pineal gland, let it flick like a cobra, which is an antenna for you to now tap into higher frequencies of thought that exist like a radio station, to bring them down to create love, peace, justice, and harmony. Pyramids. So let's put in that picture of the pyramids. They're healing chambers. They're also stargates to where a giant, imagine a crystal the size of a basketball court pointed, whether it's an amethyst, a copper pointed crystal, and it's geometrically perfect, and it's getting the rays of the sun, and you're under it. You're eating a magic mushroom or smoking the blue lotus. You're now able to astral travel to these certain planets that are in your mind. So right here is a picture that I took of me and ancient Kemet, and you see the brothers. This is Tahuti right there, and he's giving him the Ankh, the magic mushroom, the key of life, the tree of life. For when eaten, your pineal gland opens, and now you can become what they call the dog, the god, the Amun, the Amun Re, the Tahuti, the Jedi, the Most High Christ being. So when we, for those who study Jesus, Yeshua, the Buddhas, all the greats teach you that the Christ is within you. The story of Jesus, he was taught in ancient Kemet, Egypt. So in order for a person to hide, that means that they had to blend in with the population. So right here, you see a picture of a melanated leader, a pharaoh. You see angles, 90-degree angles. And so right there, you see how we created these advanced structures. It's because we were participating in the mother nature. So that's the experience, y'all. It's that first you have to confront your lower forms. That's why some people have a bad trip, because they have yet to face their what they call demons, or the devil dark side of you. So in order for you to have your enlightened awakening, you're going to have eventually, and most people don't want to have a bad trip because they're afraid to go through hell. They're afraid to shed their skin like a snake. And we're in the Chinese year of the snake, the serpent, a new beginning. We're in the Janos, January, where you have the forward look and the back. So we must look back in the past to know who we are, but now move forward.
Hey Jason, hold on. Murdoch, can you put up that picture of the last slide you just had up? I want to talk on that real quick. Can you zoom in somehow? Zoom in towards.
About to break it down, JoJo.
Yeah, because I really want to talk about the construction of the pyramids, but I want to talk about the pyramids within your inner self, your ethereal pyramid that you have within yourself, the crystals, everything that's combined. In this picture, I love how it's really so illustrative, and we're talking from an allegory standpoint. As he gave him that anchor, as he gave him that, what he wasn't only building the temples on the side, or whatever the physical being might have been, but he was building that person's mind. So when you take a trip with someone who's really, really, really out there, they're just open, positive. It's like you take a trip with them, and these motherfuckers just take you to a whole new place. You start walking through the forest, kissing flowers and shit, but you'd never really do that. So it's really interesting how when you take, the psilocybins and your perspective of just your current state of being, bro, you can be in the fucking gutter alleyway and you're gonna find something beautiful about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
No matter where you are, it's the place and state of being you are at that time. So as that little mushroom just alone, it builds your mind, and it builds constructions around to where everything is just seen in a different place. You look at a homeless person off of some Hennessy, you're bothered. When you look at a homeless person off of some mushrooms, you're somehow convinced that you know them, and it's unfortunate that you knew how they got there. Has anyone ever experienced that on the panel? Yeah. It's weird.
Well, yeah. Well, you were saying something about the shapes, and that's one thing that the fungus will show you, because it speaks to you with colors, frequencies, shapes. All of those have frequencies. So the fruits and the vegetables, when you eat the fungus, you have to obviously hydrate. You hydrate with the fruits, right? The fruits, like I was saying, carry codes. So imagine being on the funky fungus, eating the fruits. Those fruits create shapes.
Eat some oranges, and I promise you're gonna go to Pluto.
I'm gonna go run inside and grab
go
oranges,
to Pluto.
From the tree.
Strawberries.
I could
Listen,
talk about the Riverside orange tree.
Real quick though.
Talk about it while I go grab.
You want the fruits to create a shape like a triangle, because that's where the energy just boom, 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 boom. If you have anything like when we eat, like, let's say, like meat, or if you're eating like processed foods, you're basically putting food in your body that it's foreign. So your body's trying to rid of it. Imagine giving your body the foods that it needs, the fruits and vegetables. Now your vibe, that's why you vibrate off of a higher frequency when you eat those oranges. Those oranges came straight from the tree. Navel oranges, those are the number one oranges in the world, right?
Let's stay there real quick, because I know we're gonna breeze back it, but she just said some real gems of gold, or some golds of gem, however you say it, tongue twister. So this one time, you guys, look, I had fasted for 3 or 4 days, had an empty belly, and I had made some mushroom tea, and it was kind of just like a YOLO, I'm in the moment. How I felt versus when I got off of the processed food and I went on that trip, it was so more transcending. Like it's really weird to say, and I hate to be that guy, but it was one of those rare opportunities where you find yourself 1000% content. Your body isn't fighting, trying to get nourishment. It's not trying to fight the poison out. It's not trying to digest the stuff that's not supposed to be in its body. It was in harmony. See what I'm
What is
saying?
the
So
shaman of the Amazon picture, Murdoch? Keep going,
so
Jojo.
so as I was saying about that picture, as he was building and constructing that person's temple, his mind elevated, but his body followed suit, because where your mind goes, your body follows.
Yep.
When you think in a loving, positive way, oh, I want to help people, your body will find its way to be in a place where you're feeding the homeless. When you
Well, let's
say,
put in the virtual reality section soon, Murdoch. But do you got the picture of the shaman in the Amazon? You going,
so
Jojo?
as he's talking about, that person, if you really think about it on an allegorical standpoint, the man of the Amazon, really, he's in a place where there's nothing, but that's where he found his true potential. When you have all these foreign substances and they're third party, it really depreciates your mind. Your days are not as effective. You get tired, you get irritable, you're not patient, you're getting pissed off for no fucking reason. Your whole entire energy is just totally shifted. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But go ahead,
Yeah.
you can move
It's
on
built
topic,
off
because I
of
know.
those. It's built off of those shapes that are in your body. So when you were referring to heat drinking the Hennessy, or basically taking in spirits, you're you're voluntarily drinking a spirit, and now you're acting like that spirit. But when you get and drink or eat of fruits and the funky fungus, and you're putting what you come from inside your body, you're essentially getting to the root of your problem, and you're shedding all of the BS. AKA, when we hop up and get up in the morning and we don't give thanks to, to the Most High, we don't give thanks to our
Yeah.
ancestors, but we give thanks to the TV,
There
and
we
we
go.
rather give our energy to those things. Yeah, giving energy to something that doesn't serve us well, it only puts more layers on us. And that's why healing is ugly. It's designed to be ugly, because you got to get rid of those layers. So when you do partake of the fungus, you're gonna be there's gonna be snot coming out your nose, you're gonna be
Mhm.
crying. I can't
You
make
are
this up.
what you eat.
You're going to be crying your butt off. But when you're done, like you said, Jojo, you're going to look at someone who's homeless, whereas before you were drinking that Hennessy and that homeless person agitates you. But when you're done with that fungi, that fungus that you've eaten, you have a different appreciation and another perspective on that person you consider to be homeless.
Exactly, y'all. And that's what the shamans of the Amazon, this documentary we watched back in '05 at Cal State as well. It broke down ayahuasca, and you see how a lot of people throughout, even I think Aaron Rodgers talks about his experience with ayahuasca. So once again, we're speaking about plant medicine, y'all,
Body. And when you
and how
put bad stuff into it, including the dialogue, including what you watch on Instagram,
Yep.
spending all that time sliding on some bullshit, it starts to become what you eat. What you eat isn't always a physical thing. It's not always the fruits. Sometimes sweet things like the Instagram, things like that, it will cause your body to go to bad places,
Yep.
and it will affect your guys' temple, your pyramid. It will affect your health, your conscious. It will affect your attractiveness and the longevity of your whole entire life.
Peep
wow,
game, peep game, peep game.
I
So
agree.
So I went outside, I laid down, I looked up, and you see the planes flying by with all of the, chemtrails or whatnot. So I saw the chemtrail come out, and then the chemtrail created a shape, because parasites, if you look at a parasite underneath the scope, you will see they look scary. They have, okay, that's what was coming out basically of that plane, right? So I asked it, well, I said, why are you doing this to our people? And it said, I'm basically told what to do. This is my job. My job is to dissipate from the sky, come into your pores, and create parasites. So it's imperative that we are educating ourselves on taking plant medicine in the right dosage so that you can heal consistently. We should always be in a state of healing. Healing is a lifelong journey.
Put on those
If you're not healing, if you're not crying, if you're not doing those things, you're going to be consumed by the matrix.
Put on those Egyptian pillars, and you're absolutely right, Oracle. You're absolutely correct. There's some Egyptian pillars that I sent you, Murdoch. Some say Egyptian pillars of Hathor. And what these pillars that we'll eventually show you is about healing, y'all. We're seeing how our civilizations are set up, and we're seeing how each of us are speaking these things on how fruit, the magic mushroom, the ayahuasca, different plant medicines take us to higher consciousness. Instead of processed food, what about the food where the true programmers designed these, who plugged them in, they created the tree, the orange trees, for specific reasons for you to eat and get nutrition, nutrients for your avatar, for your spacecraft, for your Merkaba, so you eventually can become the light being that you truly are. So when we are about to show you these Egyptian pillars and these sarcophaguses, these are what you would call your sound bowls, y'all. So when you see these right here, and it goes like, and it keeps going when you have these pillars. So imagine you inside of these temples when they're activated, when they're in their pristine state with the crystals and certain minerals and water working and sound. And then, boom, the sound pillars are going off, and you're inside in between these pillars, and now you're being healed through sound frequencies. And these are your ancient temples as well. So when you visit Kemet or Egypt, you'll still see these pillars today. And those are what you call temples, mystery schools of healing. And same with the pyramids. When you step inside of the pyramids and with the angles and with water and certain limestone and minerals inside, not only were you able to astral project, you were able to heal yourself. Here in the Temple of Karnak, I was here. So you see these pillars right here. Now imagine what they look like in their pristine state, with the natural paint, with the rubies and the copper, and with the ringing of the sounds, and with the sun coming in at certain times of the year, for you to astral project, or for other entities and beings of light to come inside of these temples. When the sound frequency is changed in vibration, these beings of light can come in and communicate with us on higher levels and teach. And this is what those who control the matrix do not want us to know. This is why they replace these powers that we have within and destroy our cultures, and replace it with these modern day religions, attempting to strip us of the knowledge of self, the dogs, the Anpu, the Anu, the Nubians, the proof of stone masonry throughout the world, using high science, not just of thought, but soul food, not soul food with pig and pork and slave food, soul food of the funky fungus, the psilocybin, the magic mushroom, food that activates your mind. And the moment you have your land again, free water, because all you have to do is dig underground and water can pop up. We can create the dams to control the lakes again. And once again, we can live in our culture and create heavy, high science again. And that's, for me, what it's about, is escaping their matrix and building our own with the organized plan. How do we know? It's because we've done it before. And that's why they try to demonize what we built in our past lives. because you can answer it by studying the plant. When you're vibrating on a certain frequency, you can talk to the plants and they will communicate with you, giving you high intelligent information that you can apply. Here's what the problem that they're giving us is that now that we're not on our own land able to practice our culture and think on high levels and walk outside of our houses and produce. Why? Because someone who looks like me in the city of Riverside, there's no mystery schools open right now to that high level to the public to where we can actually study these through our cultural lenses. If we go to a school and start saying, hey, well, the plant talked to me, this and that, they'll say you're crazy. And so once again, they trap you in the time loop by defining our reality through nature, which is the neters. So when we're able to return to Kemet or move forward with the ancient deities
Man, they messing with my
that our
connection,
ancestors,
y'all.
left us, we can basically
Jason
receive
done popped
answers.
out.
Who's coming up?
Man,
What'd you say?
I said these people fucking with my connection, man.
I know I'm rambling, but so basically, when we connect the fruit, so Lana was saying that in Riverside, this is where they first started cloning oranges from. Riverside became the richest city per capita in America. Riverside, California, based off of these oranges. So when you taste these oranges from the ground out here, it supplies you with knowledge and information. And so when you're eating the magic mushroom and eating fruits and vegetables, it'll remind you why we didn't eat meat to that level. Because when you're under the sun and you're able to grab from different coconuts, different fruits and vegetables, why would you want to kill an animal?
Hey,
That's
Jason.
dead.
Hey, this one time, you guys, I was eating some mushrooms in Riverside,
Mm-hmm.
and I got a hold of a bag of some fresh plums, some real pears, and a few little cuties.
Mhm.
Now, when I took a bite of that plum, I literally it was one of them things where you start looking at your homies like, and you start looking at the food almost if you're trying to telepathically tell them like, nigga, have you ever tried this shit? This is sensational. It felt so man, so special. You definitely feel the difference between when you eating some steak or some shrimp or something like that versus when you have some fresh strawberries or like a really, I don't know if you ever had
Watermelon.
a cara orange when you tripping off of some shrooms. You gonna go to the moon and back, boy. I tell you. And I like to drink mine through a tea. I don't know why, but just when you make that tea, it's a different experience. Definitely make it
Mm.
more potent, but the place it will bring you to, man, I'm just convinced. Like the natural gems of the earth are the things that they've demonized and the things we're afraid of, and a
Yep.
lot of and a lot of the technology that we have doesn't give us access to that full information, and a lot of our religious practices pushes us away from that. So you have
Absolutely.
a whole society who's getting double whammed from both positions to where they're kind of like, I don't really fuck with them mushrooms and stuff, but
Mm.
majority of them living their whole life struggling with obesity. They're angry, they're sick, they have these generational curses of
Yep.
diabetes, blood pressure, and things like that. They don't go to the gym. It's a whole system, man. And I think that apart from his first question is the Matrix. And in that picture of the red pill and the blue pill, even in the movie where Morpheus was asking him, like, hey man, which way you want to go? At the end of the day, Neo had a choice. But when he
Yep.
started to break away from his conditioning and his belief and his introduction into this matrix, only is when he became more powerful. When the movie
Mhm.
started, he said, I ain't the one. Even in the middle of the movie, nigga said, I ain't the one. Towards the end of it, he said, I might be. But that mustard seed that he had on the second movie totally made him transpire. And when you watch the latest one, this motherfucker can fly. I mean, he's like a freaking superhero.
because
But it
that's
was
what
just
you
a
can
mustard
do.
seed that
That's
even in that,
exactly
when he
what you
took the
can
blue
do.
pill and then he
And
took the
that's why
other pill, it showed you the truth.
and that's exactly what it is, JoJo. We're able to fly. The stories of the superheroes, fireballs coming out of your hand, you being able to touch people and heal them, you being able to use your voice and tones to heal people, take them to different thoughts. That's what they're trying to erase. They're
Mm-hmm.
trying to erase our imagination, and
Mm-hmm.
then the proof when you imagine, which are all around us with the advanced structures all throughout the world that predate their idea of reality.
Wait, what
And
was
when
that movie, you guys? Was it 1844?
put on the sarcophagus, the pictures of the sarcophagus, Murdoch, the King Tut, because we're going to talk about healing. Still talk about it, JoJo. But I'm going to
Did you
show you
guys?
guys how the sarcophaguses are cryo chambers. So when I went to Kemet, so look at here, guys. When they open these sarcophaguses, what sometimes they don't tell you, or if you listen closely, they'll say the body was perfectly preserved until we opened the sarcophagus.
Mm.
So that means that these bodies possibly were supposed to be resurrected, or a
Mm-hmm.
way that they're showing you to where they can plug in computers and get the knowledge and information. That's why you'll learn that a lot of the pharaohs, they would dig out their brains and organs and
Mm.
prepare them for certain reasons. And that's why in school they always say, well, the Egyptians were preparing for the dead. Yes, because this realm, this lower realm, is a test. It's a
Mm.
test because when you eat the magic mushroom and the plant medicine and start vibrating on that frequency again, you realize that the frequency that they had you on is fake.
Yeah.
It's not real. That was forced upon you. Your ancestors didn't vibrate on that frequency. They had to be, they were murdered, slaughtered, and then we were born. So they murdered the shamans, what you call the witch doctors, the griots, and then they destroyed the statues and blew up certain things for when you came back again in this matrix hologram, knowing already what to do and came to build even further. Your statue that you built is destroyed.
Mm.
Where you naturally go to heal someone who doesn't look like you is over the hot springs. They took over some of your ancient mystery schools and blew those up. So that's why our people are lost, is because we need to be healed. And
Yeah.
that's why you put in the picture of the sarcophagus. When you go inside of those and you lay in there, you start feeling like a humming sound. And so for me, I was like, imagine laying in a whole big gold sarcophagus with amethyst and all these charged up things. And then imagine if, when there's machines back in the day connected to the sarcophagus using water, and it's like,
Can you imagine?
and you
Dang.
sit on that table and you can heal yourself. They showed you in the movie Stargate when the pharaoh got hit by the army. He hit him and they put him on the healing table like a sarcophagus. He came out healed, because you're not supposed to die in the video game. You're in a matrix hologram made of atoms, photons, neurons, and electrons. But
Six
if they
six.
convince you that you can die, you start aging. If we start eating their foods, which are processed, because they're processed beings, they're robots, they're NPCs, they were created, they were crafted and grafted. We are originals. We are the programmers of the orange, some of us. Before you plugged in, some of us created the actual orange in the program.
That
Saying,
has
okay, we're going to
codes.
create this program and
Yes.
what they will call a fruit. It's going to be this color. So you got to do this code. And when someone eats it, it's going to do this in their temple or their so-called avatar. We created these things, some of us. This is what empowers us. So that's why they call it a diet, because you die eating their foods. We're going to call these things living.
Live it.
Now we're living again. We're living again, y'all, pushing forward. We're shedding our old skin. We're looking at the ancient codes that we see all around us, which they call our ancestors left. These are codes, y'all. These signs and symbols are codes that resonate in our DNA. And when you crack open the fruit, it looks like that. So it unlocks your cells and you're connected with that sun in the sky. And there's science behind that. Whether it's Amun Ra, Amun Re, Tehuti, where you get the word Jetuti or Jedi, the bearers of the light, the knowledge, and the dark side, right? Darth Vader, what does his helmet look like? The Pharaoh's helmet. And then so now we start getting into high advanced knowledge that we can prove. And so this is the point of eating the magic mushroom, eating from the fruit, the tree of
Hey,
knowledge.
real quick before we move on from the topic of what he just said,
And put on that sarcophagus picture, please.
What's up, Yakili?
since we
Hey, Scott.
since we talking about
Yes.
foods and stuff
Keep
like
that one
that,
on, bring it in.
has anyone ever noticed that our skin is the same color as the soil? Has anyone ever noticed our skin is the same color as the nighttime when your food grows?
Yes.
Has anyone ever noticed that as far as photosynthesis and advanced technology, we are the most advanced technology that lives on Earth because we're the only species on Earth who are not a plant who can actually go through and like execute the process of photosynthesis.
Yes, that's why they're rolling out AI, y'all, because the magic mushroom is not artificial intelligence, because we are the true intelligence. And that's how we're able to eat and awaken. That we are the computer. They're trying to say, the robots are going to be smarter than the humans. We're not humans. They are.
Yeah.
And so when you look at the sarcophagus is right here. Look in the background, y'all. What do you see those pictures I have of? You see the brothers and sisters that look like you, right? So when you see those sarcophaguses, when you put your body in there, and there's technology that they hid from us and still have and hide, you're able to heal yourself. So imagine when you learn that you can be 300 years old. Imagine the time now and the patience that you will have, because the age that they give you is not the same age as those with less melanin as us. They age differently than us. Therefore, we live on a different timeline than them. And so the timeline that we use and refer to when they say, well, when I leave religion, Jason, and Jesus, where do I go if I'm depressed? Right there, I showed you the sarcophagus. I showed you all these things that you can go to or type up, and it has remedies. Our ancestors have left us everything we need because the ancestors mean answers, which is you. And this is why we need community building, because you see people's fires and their house is burning. So, boom, just like that, an earthquake can hit, and it's a wrap. It's Escape from LA. And then none of anything will matter. What will matter is your relationships with your brothers and sisters, your friends, and not necessarily with from your household, your brothers that you meet out in the streets, and sisters. This is community building, so we can have our own gardens, have our own food, have our own farms, because if something does happen in California, after a few weeks, if people thought Hurricane Katrina was something, homie, people rely on Ralph's, Stater Brothers, and Star, all these manufacturing food, and that's why I show much love to all my brothers and sisters who have been on their livid type of living, not a diet, who've been on their earth, been on their fruits. I appreciate you because you said Brother Akili was watching. You
Yes.
know, you watching that. Peace, God. Uh, if you are on, there's a brother I know. I don't know if he minds, but the guy played for USC football and all that. And he's one of the examples of brothers that I know that talk it and live it when it comes to the putting nutrients and nutrition in his body to fuel without having to eat dead flesh. So
Yes.
it's just amazing that you have people, we each have each other in our lives. And that's why I always know I have so much to learn because I'm moving forward with the journey, y'all. So once again, I have to what they call humble myself or check my ego or dislove life enough to know that there's people out there who are already on this journey that I need to learn from now.
Real
And
quick.
fun.
Real quick. I wanted to piggyback on what you were saying.
Right, Naga.
I wanted to figure out what you were saying, Jason. We have to remember, and it's hard. Sometimes we have to remember because we see with these two eyes, we see one person, we see ourselves. We forget there's trillions of cells within us. We are trillions of little itty bitty pieces of us, right? Live within us still. And those are our cells. And we don't realize when we're eating the meat and the processed foods. Remember, processed foods means somebody already processed it for you before you started eating it. Marinate on that for a second. Somebody ate that for you and broke it down and then gave it to you. So you're eating somebody else's processed foods. You're putting it in your body and you're killing your cells, your trillions of cells. That's your army. So you don't see them, but if you look at them, if you're eating meat and processed foods, if you look at your cells under a microscope, you could just imagine them. They don't have no legs. Some of their arms are broke off. How can your army fight for you when you're not eating the right foods and fueling them? You're not giving them the right fuel that they need to fight off any type of war that they might be in. And we are in war every day. You wake up, you see the sky. It's no joke. You see them spraying. You see what you watch on TV. You're at war all day, every day. Your job is to make sure you're fueling your body and your cells so that you can fight this war. Period.
And it's terrible, y'all, because to the panel and everyone who's watching, they make them Big Macs taste so good. I mean, listen,
Nanobites.
I know I need to do better, but
is it the commercial? Is it the
color? It's the color red. The red entices that lower
so seductive.
KFC, eat some chicken wings. Those
watch What the Health. Start educating yourself to really start in your psyche, in your mind, process the fact that that's not a Big Mac you're eating. You know what you're eating. You can even ask them. They'll tell you. Hey, I went to Taco Bell when I was on my journey. I stopped eating meat and I was hungry and I used to fast, and I still do. I fast for days. Jason would tell you there's days I don't go for eating for 2-3 days, and I couldn't eat. And it was all day and I was hungry and I said, I need to eat. I went to Taco Bell. I figured I'd get a burrito. Long story short, I asked the guy what was in the meat and he said, oh, we have chicken. But I said, no, what's really in the meat? And he said, oh, you want to know what's in the meat? I said, yeah. He says, human remains. And I cried inside the place. And I said, you know what? He's not lying. He's telling me the truth. I have my crystals on. They can't lie to you. They have to tell you the truth. They cannot lie to you. And he told me exactly what was in the foods. I have never eaten Taco Bell. I don't mess with fast food joints because they get their food from the same place. So unfortunately, you have to do your research and find out what you're putting inside your body.
Well, definitely, that's where a lot of the kidnapped children go. These ancient people who practice religions, they still practice human sacrificing. They still practice cannibalism. When we study European culture, they used to, when we look at the pharaoh pictures, anybody watching this, go study how the Europeans used to dig up the pharaohs and grind up the bones and drink the bones as an elixir. They used to eat us. You guys know that. Anyone watching, know and study how the Europeans ate us. Learn about the Dark Ages. Learn how they would cook us, and there's recipes. Yes. And so nutrition. So we're dealing with people who come from a cold climate as well. So the science that they have isn't compared to ours. Why? Because when we study the Moors, teaching the pale skinned Europeans all that they knew, and then when they came to America as well, teaching them how to farm correctly. So in order for us to teach someone how to do something, that meant that we come from mothers who knew how to farm. So when we start studying our grandma and great grandma, didn't everyone have a garden back in the day?
Right.
Grandmas have farms and
Lots of
gardens.
trees. Yeah. We
And
used to.
so, well, and that once again, the supermarkets replaced the mom and pop clothing stores. The Blockbuster replaced the mom and pops. You know what I'm saying? The Ralphs and Stater Brothers replaced our gardens in our own backyard and farms, right? And that broke down the family, you know, coming together for dinner. The fast food stopped families coming together and friends eating, sitting down together, communicating. Now they have the cell phone. Soon they're going to have robots in the fast food. Soon now we have the delivery food. It's all to stop us from communicating with each other, especially with the divine source within the natural food. So we must eat the foods and drink everything that comes within the letter as we put it into the show. So is there any pictures that you can put up before we close the show, Murdoch? The food of the gods. We show the Egypt pillars, the pyramid mushroom, and the pharaoh mushroom. So any picture to close it out as we close the mushroom and the Jesus theory. So it's some that say that the story of Jesus is actually, once again, as we know, an allegory, but also an allegory for the magic mushroom. But when a person eats the magic mushroom, they become the Christ. They become anointed. They become, their crown becomes enlightened. And with that, when you learn certain information, you can use Reiki healing. You can actually go around and heal people through sound, as we learn. And so these are what, when we learn about the physical story that they put are in these books, they say that Jesus learned in Kemet in Egypt. That means he had teachers. And what were those teachers eating and creating? Math, science, literature, buildings, and we were building on higher planes of existence that we're able to grab from and bring up right now to build our own lands up. And that's the purpose, is coming together, building a community, shedding our skin, and recognizing our culture is all around us, you know. So we are gods, we are the creators, we are the dogs, we are the nagas, we are the infinite. We are we are the Mu. So communicate with each other, love one another, study ancient Kemet, study your Mesoamerican culture, study the Olmecs, and type in the Olmecs and magic mushrooms. Study the Mesoamericans and magic mushrooms. And this is our culture. No longer allow them. This is why they make it illegal. It's a reason why they made magic mushrooms and psilocybin a Schedule 1 drug on the level of crack and heroin. And that's why this society is so sick. We need healing. We need our pyramids activated to heal. We need our hot springs given, well, really our hot springs, so we can have our land to heal. We need our sarcophaguses to lay in to heal so we can live a long time with a purpose, not running around here like a chicken with his head cut off, but with a purpose. When you understand we can build pyramids again, aligned with certain star systems that are really in your mind. All this is a hologram being projected out of our minds. And we have proof of what we can build. So grab upon that frequency. I am Jason Elm Street Williams, Master of the Universe. Jojo or Lana, end us with something for our first episode in 2025 of What is the Matrix TV?
Well, I'm just going to say, just going to piggyback on everything and just say that, we need to heal. The mushrooms showed me that the women, the goddesses, are the ones that were put to sleep, and the gods have been up the whole time. But because they keep doing the same time loop, we keep going through the same thing like a broken record over and over and over again. Eventually, our gods are laying down and falling asleep too. So it's imperative that we heal. Healing is a lifelong journey. Cry. Anyone that ever told you you should not cry has lied to you. That is part of the healing process. You are never too hard to cry. Let it out so that you can move forward. And that's how we as a whole, as a universe, come together, is through the healing process. Turn the TVs off. Unplug from your phones, unplug from your electronic devices, heal, go within, and like Jason said, love one another.
Exactly. And so I love you. I love everyone watching. Jason and the Lost Pyramid is my third installment of my book series. Jason is an upcoming teenage superhero in training who identifies as a Moorish Aboriginal Indigenous being. He has ADHD and he becomes a superhero. Jason and the Lost Pyramid. It's about knowledge. It's about freedom. It's about justice. It's about friendship. Let me open it up before I talk about our new virtual reality campus. So we have so many pictures. It's about reading literacy. It's about imagination and so much more.
And a cute little robot.
Oh, and Lana the robot. This is for the sisters too, So we have so many adventures inside of this book and amazing illustrations. You can find it on Amazon. But right now, the virtual reality campus is open. We're going to be having a grand opening event soon, also on the web in downtown Riverside as well. But as we end the show, we're going to end it with a few minutes of the virtual reality campus, the Matrix University virtual reality campus, where we can teach students from all around the world, Africa, Chicago, Compton, Riverside, Maryland. We can plug into our virtual reality headsets and educate students, people from all ages. So wherever you are, as long as you're plugged in with these MetaQuests and with your Chrome or laptop, we're building a community in the digital space, y'all. So we'll start it from the beginning, Murdoch, with that one. Can discuss. So basically, with this virtual reality, we are here at the International Space Station playing a game of basketball. Jason E. Williams going up for the dunk in outer space. Whoa, the aliens go wild. So right here, we are at the International Space Station, where students, families, organizations can come together to learn about the solar system, learn about the planets, and the gamification of education right here. So let's go down and see the rotation of the planets and how students can discuss various different lesson plans that educators can provide for them. Whether you can say, tell us the density or the weather of Mars. Is there life on Mars? What is the Earth compared to the sun in size? What is the rotation of Venus? What pyramid complex is perfectly aligned with Venus? If you were a creator, where would you align your pyramid, planet Earth? Then next, we're going to show you how we can dissect frogs. So you guys remember how girls and kids would scream when we were kids, dissection. Now we can save money in VR and teach kids from around the world about dissection, about science, about space. We'll take them to pyramids. So each episode, I'm going to drop some commercials for y'all. The programs that we have at the Matrix University. You see the books that we have. So we're going to have the children's books programs. But here's our module, an example of a frog dissection. So join the Matrix University. Welcome to the Matrix University Virtual Reality Campus Frog Dissection Module. Well, once again, we have teamed up and collaborated with the #1 virtual reality company in the world. So right here, instead of spending thousands and hundreds of dollars for frogs and all the equipment, right here, students, organizations, families, and teachers can actually experience real life dissection in virtual reality.
Make horizontal incisions just above the legs and just below the arms. Now, put the scissors back and grab the forceps. Using the forceps, fold the skin and muscle flaps back and away from the body.
You can fast forward it. I'm talking so they can see the end. So that's just a quick example, y'all, of the virtual reality campus and demo that we'll have. And so next episode, we'll play some full ones. What is the Matrix TV? We have solutions. Once again, we're a 501c3 nonprofit LLC, but you already know on this podcast, we're talking to the adults. So if you have family, children, members, if you as an adult feel that you're ready to have a class at a certified tax-exempt 501c3 university, soon to be Dr. Jason E. Williams, we have a real professional virtual reality class where we utilize AI and campus. So you can create lesson plans using artificial intelligence in holograms, 3D in real time. We have various destinations all throughout the world using 360-degree cameras. So not only are we providing children's books and entrepreneurships, we're changing the world through virtual reality, making sure that indigenous people from all over the world and all cultures experience education at the highest level this time. I am Jason, July, August, September, October, November. Jason Elm Street Williams, Master of the Universe, living in a Matrix hologram, something similar to SimCity 2000. SimCity is a game I used to play. So look at that. It's like The Sims. Watch Westworld. So we're becoming online again. Share the information. Love each other. Remember, atoms, photons, neurons, and electrons. We have proof of our culture. Study the pyramids. Study the ancient temples. Study the sound healing frequencies so you know we can never die. We're not supposed to die in this video game. I'll see you next episode. Jason, peace.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What is the Matrix?
Start me from the top, man. Maybe it's the weed got me. Maybe it's these trees got me. Maybe it's these hoes got me. Maybe it's the stroll that got me. Maybe it's these clothes got me. Maybe it's these laws got me. Maybe it's my dogs got me. Maybe it's these bras got me. Maybe it's this man that got me. Maybe it's my clan that got me. Maybe it's my fam that got me. My plans, my plans. The Matrix, Matrix.
When I wake up in the morning, I wake up in the morning, putting my read in my Bible paper.
Welcome to the world-famous King Tut Museum. Be sure to respect the ancient relics. The ancient Egyptians were a magical people who built numerous beautiful, magnificent structures, like the world-famous pyramids and temples. No running inside. Scientists till this very day still do not know how the Egyptians built the pyramids.
I wonder, did aliens ever visit ancient Egypt?
Wow, look at that giant Egyptian statue. It looks just like you, Jason.
Thanks, Toby. You're a super cool friend. Imagine what the world would look like if I was the pharaoh.
Jason, you are daydreaming. Wake up.
Sorry. History got away from me.